Hello again. Let's try to solve another problem involving branching. Let's try to have a solution for this problem. Now, the problem states that we are to create a flowchart that computes the total weekly salary given the number of hours and hourly rate. Now, to compute the total weekly salary, we have to have the basic salary and the bonus. Wherein, to compute the basic salary, we have to get the number of hours worked, multiply it by the hourly rate. And for the bonus, we have here if the hours worked is greater than 45, bonus is 100. If it's greater than 40, but less than or equal 45, bonus is 50. If it's greater than 35 and less than or equal 40, the bonus is 35. So here, for us to get the number of hours worked, we are going to let the user input the value since in the problem, to get the basic salary, we need to have the number of hours worked and the hourly rate, which are unknown values. So, which means we have to let the user input the values for the number of hours worked and how much is the hourly rate of that particular employee. So, let's go to the creating of the flowchart. So again, we start the flowchart with a terminal symbol. So we'll have start, then we have to let the user input the number of hours worked. Say display number of hours worked. Okay. Then we have an input statement. We say input. We have number of hours worked, followed by asking the user of the hourly rate. So we say display hourly rate. Okay, and we let the user input the hourly rate. So we say input hourly rate, and now we compute the basic salary. And it says that to compute the basic salary, we have to multiply the number of hours worked by the hourly rate. Okay, and since we were able now to compute the basic salary, we could now determine how much bonus will be given to an employee so that we will be able to come up or compute the total weekly salary. Remember that to compute the total weekly salary, it would be the basic salary plus the bonus. So we have to determine first how much bonus will be given to an employee to compute for us to be able to compute the total weekly salary. So here we ask the user if the number of hours worked is, for the first condition, it's greater than 45. So we say, is number of hours worked greater than 45? If it's true, then we say total weekly salary is equal to BS plus the bonus, wherein the bonus is 100. Then we print or display the total weekly salary. Okay? The total weekly salary, which is of the value TWS. Okay? Then we stop. Now, what we have computed here is the TWS for those employees who worked more than 45 hours. But take note that we still have to compute for those who have worked less than or equal 45 hours. So here, if the condition is false, then we are going to ask or create a condition to test if TWS or number of hours worked if number of hours worked is greater than 40. If the condition is true, I'll just write it here, then we compute total weekly salary is equal to BS times, or rather plus 50. Then let's have an on-page connector to the printing part, so it could display the total weekly salary. If the condition is false, we have to have another condition here. To test whether the number of hours worked is greater than 30. If the condition is true, then we have TWS is equal to BS plus 35. Then an on-page connector, X. Otherwise, if the condition is false, then we have TWS is equal to BS. Then another on-page connector. So that ends the flowchart. Now let's try to check if it would give us results, or if it would be able to compute the correct total weekly sales. So let's trace this flowchart. Again, we start with the terminal symbol, and it displays number of hours worked. So which means that we are going to let the user input the number of hours worked. Say for example, the number of hours worked is 50. And the hourly rate is 10 pesos. Now, for the basic salary, we have number of hours worked, which is 50 by substitution, multiply by 10 for the hourly rate. This would give us a value of 500. Now, we test, is the number of hours worked greater than 45? The condition here is true. Why? Because number of hours worked is 50. And based on the given condition, if the number of hours worked is greater than 45, the bonus is 100. So here, TWS will have 500 plus 100. That would give us a value of 600. And after computing, it displays total weekly salary is, we have TWS, which is 600. Then we terminate the flowchart. So what if the value for the number of hours worked is 10? So which means that the employee was so lazy to work on this current week, and it worked only 10 hours. And the rate for that employee was also 10. Now, how much is the basic salary? So the basic salary is number of hours worked times hourly rate. So that's employee will get a rate of 100. Now, we check, is the number of hours worked, which is 10, greater than 45? The condition here is false because we know that 10 is less than 45. So it moves on to the next conditional statement, or the next decision symbol, and test, is the number of hours worked, which is 10, greater than 40? The condition is false again because 10 is less than 40. And it moves on to the next conditional statement, is the number of hours worked, which is 10, greater than 30? The condition is false. So which means that we don't give a bonus to this employee. That's why here we just have TWS equals BS. Or you could say TWS is equals to BS plus 0, but 0 doesn't matter anymore. So we just have to give TWS the value that is stored on BS, and have an on-page connector leading to printing of the TWS, or the total weekly salary, which is now 100. Okay, so say for example, the user entered 37 for the number of hours worked, and the hourly rate is, say, 10. They have the same hourly rate. Now, what would be now the basic salary? The basic salary would now be 370. That's 37 multiplied by 10, you'll get 370. And here on the first condition we test, is number of hours worked, which is 37, greater than 45? The condition is of course false. So we move on to the next condition. We test, is 37 greater than 40? The condition is still false. So we move on to the next condition. Is number of hours worked greater than 30? The condition here is true. Since the condition is true, we compute the TWS, which is the basic salary of 370, add 35, you get 385. Or was it 385? Sorry, it's 405. So you'll get 405 for the total weekly sales. And then we display it 405, then we stop. Okay, so let's try another input. This time, let's have a value 45 for the number of hours worked, and the hourly rate at 10. So what would be the basic salary. So the basic salary would be number of hours worked, which is 45, multiply it by 10, we are going to get 450 for the basic salary. And we check, is number of hours worked greater than 45? The condition is false because 45 is equal 45. It's not greater than 45. And on the second condition, we test, is number of hours worked greater than 40? The condition here is satisfied because 45 is greater than 40. So since it's greater than 40, we compute TWS equals to BS, which is 450, plus value of 50, TWS will be 500. So an on-page connector going to this print statement to display total weekly salary TWS, which is 500, then we stop. Okay, so hope you understand the flowchart that we just have created. Okay, so let's have another example on the next video. Thank you for listening.